Okay.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Daily Herold here on Badlands Media. I'm your host, Jon Herold, and happy Friday. I forgot, but I do think that Ghost is going to join me for a little bit today. I just got to remind him here that I sent him a link in Telegram. But how's the chat doing on this lovely Friday? We are going to talk with Ghost, figure out what's going on geopolitically. He also has his own show today, I do believe. So you'll get plenty of Ghosts. I wouldn't be surprised if he joins Onlylands this evening as well. Oh, perfect. There he is. And then also, a little later, I want to have a little discussion with you guys in the chat about blackpilling. So we'll get to that. But first, real quick, Ghost, before I bring you on stage, I see in the background, I'm going to do a couple quick ads. And then we'll get rolling. First up, we got Benson Honey Farms. Welcome to Benson Honey Farms, where every jar is pure gold. Benson's Honey is excited to be back on Badlands Media with their latest 2025 honey harvest, straight from their farm in Nebraska. While they've been busy working to improve our state politics from the ground up, they never forgot the importance of sharing the best honey around. Did you know honey isn't just a sweet treat? It's nature's medicine, perfect for alleviating allergies, soothing upset stomachs, or as a delicious natural sweetener for baking. Benson Honey is never heated, ensuring you receive it in its pure raw form, full of natural goodness. At Benson Honey Farms, quality and purity is top priority, and they're committed to providing the finest honey from hive to home. So join the supportive community and enjoy a special offer. Visit badlandsmedia.tv/honey and use promo code BADLANDS for 15% off your purchase. Benson Honey Farms, savor the authentic taste of Nebraska. Support this America First business. You can also follow them on Facebook at Benson Honey Farms. And thanks again for your prayers to Mo, who she is recovering, doing well. Let's just bring Ghost on right away. Ghost, my man, what is up? You're back in our country again.
Yep, I'm stateside again, just hanging out in the Caribbean Sea, drinking rum, driving really, really fast, fishing boats, avoiding missile strikes from the U.S. Navy.
What were you really doing down there, though? Because the timing is awfully suspicious, considering we kidnapped a foreign leader.
So, I'm sorry, but that's classified.
Yeah, there you go. That's an answer. No, but have you been following what's going on? I kind of want to talk about like your maybe 1, 2.
Yeah,
I mean, absolutely. I was going to say 3, but I doubt we'll get through 3.
Yeah. I've been tracking it. I was tracking it remotely, and it's amazing. Like, what an amazing development over the past week, and looking for key little tells that it's not what they tell us it is.
Yeah.
And there were a few of those. So,
well, let's hear it. The Venezuela, we went and got Maduro. Give your TLDR take on it.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's something that back in October I said I thought was going to happen. I said look for Maduro to get arrested by the U.S. military, willingly surrender, be led away, and for it to be made a whole show of it. I think it's like an informant entering protective custody. His wife, the fact that she was also brought in, that's very unusual. I mean, it's not like we went after Osama bin Laden's wife after 9/11, right?
Yeah.
So that's really strange. And then, of course, the rug pull that Trump did for Maria Corina Machado. Maria Hakuna Matata. That's a great name that y'all came up with. Yeah, I mean, the fact that he rug pulled that and then said, Maduro appointed Delcy Rodriguez, the vice president, to be the acting president. I don't know if you know this, but I have a clip of Delcy Rodriguez talking about a continuity of government order that Maduro signed before he left. So either
I did not know that. Find it.
Okay, yes. I'll find that. Yeah, so either the U.S. soldiers, special forces who captured him, gave him the opportunity to sign all these orders before he left, or he knew they were coming. Trump said they knew that they were coming, so that's probably was more likely what happened. But let me see if I can pull this.
That is fascinating.
Yeah, I think this is the right clip.
Just want to share your screen.
Yeah. All right, so hopefully this is the right one.
Del mundo están sencillamente.
All right, so it says the governments of the world are simply shocked that Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela is the victim and target of an attack of this nature, which undoubtedly has a Zionist tinge. It is truly shameful. Our father liberator said it in the Jamaica letter. The veil has been torn. We have already seen the light, and they want to drag us back into darkness. The chains have been broken. We have already been free, and our enemies intend to enslave us again. If there is one thing that Venezuelan people in the country are clear about, is that we will never again be slaves. All of Venezuela is mobilized in the decree that has already been signed by President Maduro. She holds it in her hand. The only president of Venezuela. There is only one president in this country, and his name is Nicolás Maduro, Moros. And then the clip cuts off. But what
she was holding a red binder there too, wasn't it?
It was a red binder, like a red folder. And then she goes on to say in the longer version of that clip, I put it in the news brief because she said the Zionist tinge. But the longer version of it, she says the order is for an external emergency. Basically, like an external threat to Venezuela has been conducted. So I'm now signing an order for continuity of government. And she said there's a whole constitutional process that's now in play, and we are acting in accordance to the orders of Nicolás Maduro. And then Trump acknowledged in his own press conference that, and I think I had that right here. That
which, by the way, real quick, by the way, if you guys haven't yet, I would highly encourage you to make sure you're subscribed to the Badlands Substack. It's free to do so, but they have revamped the Badlands brief. And it's pretty badass, I must say.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So here's Trump basically confirming independently what Delcy Rodriguez said.
You said earlier today that you weren't going to back Machado to come back and be the opposition leader in your Fox and Friends interview. And then you also mentioned the vice president of Venezuela. Are you going to work with the vice president of Venezuela, or how do you foresee the relationship going?
I understand she was just sworn in, but she was, as you know, picked by Maduro. So Marco's working on that directly. Just had a conversation with her, and she's essentially willing to do what we think is necessary to make Venezuela great again. Very simple.
Mr. President,
yeah, so she was picked by Maduro. So this was not a regime change operation, and now the MSM is finally starting to pick up on that, and they're starting to analyze it from that perspective. That, wait a minute, Trump didn't actually do what he promised he was going to do. He hasn't changed anything. The Maduro regime is still fully intact. The same people who are running the military, Vladimir Padrino is his name. He's still running the military. Nothing has changed except for the fact that Nicolás Maduro is no longer around. I even went back before I came on and I re-listened to Trump's initial press conference from Saturday. And just to confirm that he said this, he did in fact say, and then he spent some time on it, that Maduro emptied the prisons, he emptied the insane asylums, he emptied the mental institutions. Then Trump went on to explain the difference between a mental institution and an insane asylum. He said that's where all the Tren de Aragua criminals came from, that it's a prison gang that forms in prison. And so, logic dictates who put those people, if that's true, like if the narrative's true, it's the same narrative that Fox News says.
Yeah.
Who put those people in prison and insane asylums? This guy's been in office since 2014. And before that, he was a deputy of Hugo Chavez. So the official narrative is that this guy put Tren de Aragua in prison, then emptied the prisons and sent them out of Venezuela to the United States. It's just not the case. What actually happened, having done the research now, is that Colombia, which is next door, was anti-Maduro. The regime under Ivan Duque, who was the former president, according to the current president who gave a speech the other day and said this, he said Ivan Duque was planning on allowing the American deep state to use Colombia as a staging ground to launch land operations into Venezuela to start a civil war. That's exactly what Maduro's son is now saying in all of his public speeches, is that they're planning on doing a civil war. And that reminds me of Syria, because that's exactly what happened in Syria. When you have a popular leader, Assad, you can't just depose him with a color revolution. You have to start a civil war. So they used Turkey as a staging ground in 2011. sent weapons, walked them into Syria, gave them to the rebels, ISIS, and then told them to go overthrow Assad. And that's what started the Syria civil war. They were going to do the same thing in Venezuela. I think this whole thing was a rug pull to stop that. And now Maria Corina Machado is out there asking for a second regime change operation because the first one wasn't good enough.
Yeah. I want to play a clip from last night, Hannity. There's a few good ones in here, but this is talking about the interim leadership. Let's play this quick.
Obviously, the remaining leadership underneath Maduro, they've made, I mentioned earlier, 3 major concessions, 30 to 50 million barrels of oil. They're going to buy and purchase all their goods from America. Now they're releasing political prisoners.
Yeah.
Okay. What is your ultimate goal for the governance of Venezuela?
Prisoners that nobody thought they would ever see again are being released. Yeah. And in many cases, good people is what I understand. But prisoners, nobody ever thought they'd be released. So we're going to be working with them and leadership of the country. And so far, we've been working very well. You know, we picked up the Russian freighter that trudged out there.
Well, I want to ask you about that.
Well, they had some Russian ships guarding it, and they decided not to mess around with us. And we took that one. That's unloading the oil. But we're taking billions and billions of dollars worth of oil, and it'll be hundreds of billions of dollars. It'll be trillions of dollars. But we're going to be there till we straighten out the country.
I think it's so funny because
doing.
I don't think this is about the oil. I really don't. But he keeps hammering that. But I don't know if you have anything you want to comment on that.
Well, I actually think that there might be something going on here because my whole discovery of Maduro might actually not be who they tell us he is, was the whole laptop from hell from 2017 that in March landed in Maduro's lap from the scorned wife of one of his oil executives who came to him and said, "My husband's cheating on me. I hate him. Here's all the evidence you need." Maduro then gives it to a middleman. The middleman gives it to this really famous lawyer, David Boyce, American lawyer. And David Boyce, in an interview in 2022, said that it was the greatest trove of evidence he'd ever seen for proof of an international RICO conspiracy. And he spent a year with the laptop, and then in March 2018 filed lawsuits in the Southern District of Florida, civil action lawsuits, meaning they're like criminal charges filed in civil court against 42 of the most powerful oil executives in the world, accusing all of them of stealing Venezuela's wealth. This was the plaintiff was PDVSA, the Venezuelan oil company, state oil company that owns Citgo. And then that was dismissed a year later in 2019 after Trump issued sanctions on the Maduro regime. The lawyers for the defense said that this was now a national security matter. So the judge dismissed it. And then, of course, all these people were arrested because they also filed in Europe, and then the European authorities, Europol, went after them in Switzerland. So all of these people who have been getting arrested over the past 6 years, it's clear that the origin of all of these arrests, these are the most powerful oil executives and rare earth mineral executives in the world that were clearly engaged in corruption. All of that evidence came from David Boyce, the lawyer for Nicolás Maduro, and the evidence ultimately came from the laptop from Maduro. And so I think this might, when Trump's about to have a meeting this afternoon with all of the oil executives from the oil industry, and he said that the oil industry is going to go down there and invest in Venezuela and rebuild it. I think this is damages from that are rightfully rightfully awarded to Venezuela because of all the money that was stolen from them by these transnational corporations. So I think this is actually justice. There probably is some truth to that, but you're right. This isn't just about oil. This is about a lot more than that. It's about the drug cartels. It's about Colombia. Now we have Trump coming out saying that Petro, after saying for weeks he better watch his ass. We're going to get him next. Now he's invited them to the White House. And
when is he going to the White House? Because Corina Machado is coming next week too.
Yeah. And so Hannity asked about that, and basically what Trump said to Hannity was that he's like, he said, play the clip.
Let's play the clip.
TV this week.
Yeah, she's a very nice person.
Okay, she won the Nobel Peace TV this week.
Yeah, she's a very nice person.
Okay, she won the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yes.
When she accepted that Peace Prize, she dedicated it to you. She said to me this week, both on TV and radio, that she wants to give the Nobel Prize, her Nobel Peace Prize, to you for liberating her country. In 2023, she won over 92% of the vote to be the leader of the opposition. Maduro kept her off the ballot. Do you have any plans to meet with her? And would you accept the Nobel Prize she wants to hand to you?
Well, I understand she's coming in next week sometime. And I look forward to saying hello to her. And I've heard that she wants to do that. That would be a great honor. I did put out 8 wars, 8 and a quarter, because, you know, Thailand and Cambodia started going at it again. So
I'll put the list
I
up
give a
if you
quarter,
want.
so it's,
Yeah.
you put the list out, it's a hell of a list. But I've stopped 8 wars. And I think, you know, it's been a major embarrassment to Norway. No, I don't
He
know.
completely, like, he goes on and just the rest of it's answering about ending the wars and like completely avoids actually answering the question when it comes to Machuto.
What I think what he ultimately says is, yeah, I heard she's going to be in town and she wants to come by and say hello. So he's going to let her come by and say hello. They're trying to present it like it's going to be some formal meeting where he's going to like anoint her as some leader. And he's like, yeah, she said she wants to come by and say hello. She can come take a tour of the White House, but, you know, we're busy. Like, we have stuff we got to do. So, you know, let yourself out. If you want to share my screen, this is the big rug pull, because Trump was gearing up to do Colombia next. And all of the neocons, Rick Scott, Tom Cotton, Lindsey Graham, they were all saying it was going to be Cuba and then Nicaragua and then Colombia before we get to Iran. And then Trump puts out this post on January 7th. It was a great honor to speak with the president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, who called to explain the situation of drugs and other disagreements that we have had. I appreciated his call and tone and look forward to meeting him in the near future. Arrangements are being made between Secretary of State Marco Rubio and the Foreign Minister of Colombia. The meeting will take place in the White House in Washington, D.C. They're saying it's going to be next week, but they haven't given a specific date. Right after Trump posts this, Gustavo Petro posted this video.
Los golpes al narcotráfico en este gobierno son.
So this is all in Spanish, but it's just explaining all of the cartel stuff that they've been going after for the past 2 to 3 years. Several tons of cocaine, thousands of cartel criminals arrested, 47,000 hectares of cocaine fields destroyed. All of this, by the way, I verified. This is all, there are reports about all of this stuff that's happening. He's been blowing them up, literally bombing them in the jungles for years now. Some of the most famous cartel criminals from like the Medellin cartel were arrested, extradited to the United States earlier this year. And the reason I discovered all of this, John, is because back in September, I was listening to the UN speeches. You know, the Israel stuff was really big. And suddenly the president of Colombia stands up and I was like, all right, well, this guy might have something to say. I'll listen to what he says. And he said, so I hear y'all are planning on going to war with the cartels. Does that mean you're going to be waging war on Washington, D.C.? Because everybody there is on the cartel's payroll. Yeah. And I was like, whoa. And then right after that, Maduro did an interview where he said, you know, 85% of all the cartel's money is laundered through major U.S. banks, meaning they're part of the cartel too. That was really interesting. And then finally,
so what's your big takeaway on this? Like
the real target isn't Venezuela and Colombia. The real target is Mexico. And I have one last clip from Hannity we can watch that'll confirm that. But here's Gustavo Petro a year ago saying that the heads of the cartel are actually in Mexico. And then here's Trump on Hannity from that same interview.
Ostensibly really closed now.
We've knocked out 97% of the drugs coming in by water. And we are going to start now hitting land with regard to the cartels. The cartels are running Mexico. It's very, very sad to watch and see what's happened to that country. But the cartels are running and they're killing 250, 300,000 people in our country every single year.
Wow.
The drugs, it's horrible. It's devastated families. You know, you lose a child or a parent. I mean, parents are dying too with drugs. So we've done a really good job. We're knocking it down. The numbers are really getting to be, they're always going to be too high if you have one person, but they're going down just like the border. The border was a total mess for years. I did it the first time very quickly, and this time I did it even better because this was a bigger mess. This was a border like no other probably in the history of the world. There's never been a border like that when anybody could just walk into your country.
The border's ostensibly.
So the cartels are running the Mexican government. Let's see how eager the Republicans are to overthrow the Mexican government, because they're very eager to do every other government. But if the cartels are actually running the Mexican government, my guess is they're not going to be too enthused about that.
So you would expect the situation to evolve to something surrounding Mexico Like you think
Yes.
that's the target, the cartels?
I think Mexico's the real target. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are bad elements of Venezuela. Maduro himself was rounding people up for years and arresting people. So that's very real. Same thing with Syria. But I think Mexico is the real military target, not Venezuela and Colombia.
Yeah, I wonder, taking Venezuela and worrying about, some of the things in South America versus Mexico directly. I wonder if you can almost like pincer them into coming to heel rather than having to go in and do anything kinetic.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. I mean, it seems like a lot of the kinetic stuff was actually being conducted by the Venezuelan and Colombian militaries. So it'll be interesting to see if the Mexican military does anything. But I know that earlier this year, back in May, Trump criticized Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico, because she refused U.S. military assistance to go after the cartels. She also refused to deploy soldiers to the border like her predecessor had done. And she still hasn't signed a bilateral trade agreement with Trump on tariffs. And he's frustrated about that. So there's a lot of like signal that she is not cooperating with Trump the way that, a white hat, quote unquote, leader would be.
Gotcha, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I know you have your own show this afternoon, correct?
Yep.
Where you'll be discussing all this stuff. I'll raid everybody over to there after we're done here. And are you going to be on OnlyLands tonight?
Yeah, I probably will. Probably will be on OnlyLands, and then I'm doing the narrative with BB on Saturday. We're starting the Badlands Blitz tomorrow on the Substack.
Awesome. Yeah, that'll be a good time, man. So yeah, why don't you peace out, and we'll see you after the show and see you tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining, man.
See ya.
Oh, actually, wait. Before you leave, I wanted to show this. Rise of Tire sent in a new.
Oh yeah, they texted me just now.
We have a new merch item on the website. Let me click it and load it up here.
Oh, that's awesome.
You can get Gordon's border wall design on a shirt.
Dude,
so funny.
It looks so good. I can't believe I drew this picture 10 years ago, like when Trump first won the election. Or maybe even when he was campaigning. I cannot believe that that this is now on a sweatshirt, t-shirt.
Yeah, it's awesome. So funny. So funny. Anyway, Thanks, Ghost. We'll catch you later, man.
Yeah, later, man.
All right. Yeah, that was good. He's always brilliant. I wish I would have had, tonight only I was asking him some more questions about some of this other stuff. I really just wanted his take on Venezuela since he was out of the country when that story broke. Real quick, I'm going to play a soft disclosure promo because you guys need to get some beard oil and lotions and deodorants and whatnot. And then I'll have one more thing to show you. And then we'll talk about blackpilling. And we'll go through whatever headlines I have time for after that. So real quick, softdisclosure.com.
Get you some of that beard oil.
Now that I'm alone, got the close up. Do you see how awesome my beard looks right now?
I use the beard oil every single day. First thing. Comes out feeling all silky smooth. I take the dropper and I manually apply the oil directly to my mustache. Nice and, oh man, I love it. And then I do drops all throughout the hair and then I just rub it all in. And then I top it off with the tallow stick on the face.
Dude, I feel like I have to grow a beard just to try this beard oil. It sounds
Do it, Jay.
amazing.
It's all from softdisclosure.com, and the best part about it is you will be supporting Badlands Media, Annie from Willow and Farms, and basically 3 of Annie's neighbors. So that's 5 total American companies that you'd be supporting with one purchase.
I have been using the Soft Disclosure scentless beard oil every day after the shower. It looks unkempt, but it feels silky smooth. I want to look a little wild and unapproachable. But for the woman I trust, she'll be like, oh, it's actually kind of soft. He is approachable after all. Otherwise, stay away. And Soft Disclosure will help you too with that if that's the very specific vibe you're going for.
That is very specific, yes. You guys are supporting American businesses when you do that. It's absolutely incredible, and you get a great, great product.
Love that Liberty line. Have a beardgasm. Stroke your beard with Soft Disclosure. Promo code Badlands, guys. Okay, one last thing I got to show you. Very excited about this because starting next week, I think I told you yesterday on the show, or maybe it was the day before even, that General Quast is going to be starting a show here on Badlands Media. We got a little promo for it.
If you are not moving forward and exploring and learning and discovering, you are falling backwards. We want peace, and we want a future that trends with less violence. Know thy enemy, know thyself. And if you are deceived in your own arrogance and your own dominance of the past, that what you did in the past is sufficient to win in the future, eventually you're going to be a dead man. And this Constitution that America has is the best hope of humanity. We have the creativity. God has given us the brains to create our future, to build it. But the way to do that is not to ignore a new domain and new technologies. We don't have to be victims. Technology does change fate. How do we use this knowledge God has given us to glorify God and not let evil people use it as a weapon against good people?
Our Hody says, why was that flag waving in space? Good question, guys. I made that trailer, and all those images that were in there, other than the rocket taking off at the beginning, it was all AI. I didn't even catch that. The flag waving in space. So stupid. But yeah, very excited to have him joining. You know, he's always been a Badlander since like the beginning. He's just awesome, and we are honored and humbled to have him, you know, willing and able to join the network. It's going to be a great show. So again, the way his show is going to work is he's going to have a co-host every week. It's going to be a different co-host. Maybe long term, you know, one of these pairings will be just really good, and we'll go with that for the remainder of the show. But to start out, it's going to be a rotating Badlander, and then every fourth episode is going to be somebody that he brings in from the outside. But I think Chris Paul is going to be the one that joins him first on the 14th next week at 6 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys tune into that. And typically, I think the role that we're going to play is more skeptic to some of the stuff, but it's going to be a good discussion either way. That's the whole point of this, is to facilitate the discussion surrounding, you know, future technologies and the space revolution. You know, it's going to be good. So very excited about that. Now real quick, before we get into actual news stuff, I want to have a discussion with you guys about a trend I'm seeing, and I've been seeing it for a while now. It's really reared its fat, ugly head the last couple days, and I want to get your thoughts on it. Like, I want this to actually be more of a back and forth, because I've been trying to think of my thoughts on this, and I do believe me and Chris will discuss it tomorrow on the Power Hour as well, because I know he's got some thoughts. But we've been seeing this trend where any criticism of anything, any attempt at some form of debate or discussion, and sometimes they're just legit criticisms, gets labeled as blackpilling. And I think it's stupid. There's no trend. It's just one person. No, I see it a lot. Like, people show up in the chat to do it. People come in just like, oh, you're blackpilling, I'm going to go watch something else, or watch out for the people blackpilling, all these things. It's like they've taken the word blackpilling, they've kind of warped the definition of it, because to me, blackpilling is like, it's almost like fatalism. Like, you see an issue and you don't actually think anything can be done to correct it. But the way they use it is like they put it on people that the reason we're talking about these things and criticizing these things is because we do think there's a way to fix it, even if we don't know exactly what that is. Maybe gray pilling. Yeah, I don't know, but people are like, specifically, it's been weaponized now on social media. Like, anybody, it's almost a way to try to force people to fall in line. And anybody who's using this term, like, they don't care about the actual honest debate. They don't want to engage in the discussion around the topics being presented. They just want to, like, oh my gosh, you're blackpilling, and anybody who follows you is also blackpilling. It's the dumbest, laziest attempt at it. It's almost like it's the new like calling somebody racist. Like they've used that term, overused that term, that it's almost lost its power. And I think that's why I want to talk about this, is because I want blackpilling to also lose its power because of the way these retards are using it online. John, don't let others rent space in your head. No, I'm not letting it bother me. Like, it's not like any of that. I think I'm seeing an op. I'm recognizing an op within our community. And I think I want to talk about it because I think we can take the power out of it because it's stupid. I take all the pills, John. Sometimes the black pills brighten my day the most. It's hilarious. Yeah, sometimes there is justified pushback on criticism. Of course, that's like the whole discussion and debate element is about. But when you just label somebody who doesn't share your opinion or your optimism or your cheerleading as a black pillar, that's not you and pushing back on their criticism. That's just you trying to silence their criticism, and it's further trying to cement people into your cheerleader. That's the way I'm seeing it being used. It's like there's a subset of people online, and it's a growing subset because multiple other people are starting to use this tactic now. But they're pointing the finger at anybody who is, falling out of line or whatever that even means as a black pillar. And I'm not trying to say that it isn't possible for people to legitimately use the black pilling tactic to get people to like actually disengage. I'm sure there's some of that going on too. That's legitimate, but that's also almost becoming harder to recognize when you just label everything as black pilling. John, please define black pilling in your opinion. I think I did just a little bit ago. To me, black pilling is you recognize an issue, you comment on the issue, but you don't actually think there's anything anybody can do about that issue. Like, you think the battle's lost. You think there is no hope. You are the worst form of black pilling to me is the people who look at something, see the issue, don't think there's any hope, and then they just tune out altogether. Like, they step away from it, they ignore the InfoWar and everything. That's what it is to me. But it's not being used like that. It's being used to like criticize people questioning things. It's not just Bongino though. That's the thing. It's not just Bongino. I think he's doing that too. But it's not just him. That actually wasn't who I had in mind when I was thinking of this. I saw somebody call out, or I guess call out's probably the wrong word, but it was Shipwreck. Like Shipwreck's awesome on battle. I don't agree with everything she says. I probably don't even agree with half the stuff she says. Or maybe I do. I don't know. I don't have time to watch everybody's content, but I like her spirited. I just like her spirit. Like, she doesn't give a fuck. And that's like very much what it takes and what is required to be on Badlands. Like, you can't care what anybody else thinks about you. You have your thoughts, your opinions, you voice them unapologetically. And that's what she does. She's authentic. She's genuine. She's herself. But then people will take what she's saying and call it blackpilling. And maybe there are instances where that's true. But the stuff that I've seen where it's been called blackpilling, I was like, that's not blackpilling. Like, these are legitimate criticisms. These are legitimately what people are feeling. That's not a black pill. If she blackpilled, I feel like she would just completely tune out and not say a word. John, watch it, bro. That hole is getting deep. Put the shovel down. So is blackpilling a good or bad thing? Real blackpilling is obviously a bad thing, but the way it's being used as to like browbeat people to only cheerlead. And I think that's wrong. Blackpilling is actively discouraging people to continue to be involved. Yeah. Blackpilling is actively discouraging people to continue to be involved. I would agree with that. Smay60, get over it and just take her context, then nitpicking as usual. Blackpill means you're defeated. Criticizing isn't blackpilling. Yeah. Am I like on an island here? Like, do you guys see the op that I'm seeing? I think it is wrong for anyone to care what anyone is saying about you. I literally just said I don't give a shit. That's not why I'm saying this stuff. Yeah, I'm not browbeating her, but I'm not going to listen to her show or anything she's on. That's fine. Nobody's forcing you to listen to anything. Yeah, black pillars want you to conform or shut up. I don't know if that's. I don't know. I think the people who are like, I think it's the opposite. The people who are pointing the finger at others and being like, these people are trying to black pill the movement or whatever, they're the ones that want people to conform or shut up. It's the people accusing others of black pilling that are doing that. North Dakota isn't an island. You're right. You're making it sound like there's a coordinated effort. That isn't the case. Are you sure? It appears coordinated. I mean, I don't find it. It's no coincidence that anytime Badlands does anything awesome or cool or good, or like we add a new show, like yesterday we announced that we're adding General Claw. At least I posted on that video online on Twitter, and then we get a bunch of accounts who are like picking on other pieces around Badlands, being like, "Oh, you guys are black pillars. This is an op." All these things. Every time something good happens, they try to tear us down. One resolute man is seeing it. Shipwreck is Rise of Tire. You can be engaged and still black pilled. I think to me, it's about whether or not you have any hope. Yeah, I've seen it, John, and I'm shocked these people are Badlanders. I don't see it as much from actual people in Badlands. I think like when you see it in the chats, the live chats, I think a lot of those are trolls or bots. Close mind to get black pilled easily. Again, I'm not talking about actual black pillar. I'm talking about the people who are accusing people of black pilling. It's like the Me Too movement almost. It's just weird. I'm just getting weird vibes of it. I think these people don't actually know what black pilling means, and they're using it as a way to just shut down debate. And they think it's like a weapon. But I'm not black pilled. I'm bad pilled. That's what I am. I could care less about what anybody else thinks. I'm going to speak my mind. We all will here at Badlands. We do believe there is, a victory at the end of this, but we don't claim to know how we get to that victory. So we're going to pursue the avenues that we think victory requires. Until they fill us in on the plan and let us know exactly what we should be doing, we're not just going to cheerlead. You're more of a flush it down brown pillar. We all have opinions. We can listen to them and still disagree with them, for sure. John, you're not alone with this issue. Are they newcomers? No, just going to say that, John. No coincidences. Miranda Nicole 711, you are spot on. Is the new anti-Semitic. I think they meant anti-Semitic. Ghosts of Base Patrick Henry. Truly black-pilled people have defected entirely from the information battle space. I know a few in real life. I know a few too. And I think, again, the reason I'm talking about this is because I do see it as an issue and an op, especially with, even though I wasn't directly talking about Dan, it's a good example because he's coming back into like the podcast space, and it appears there's going to be like this effort to, stifle dissent and black pill and all that stuff. And I don't think that's the approach that we should be taking. I think discussion and debate is the way forward. I think disagreements are the way forward. I think as long as you can, earnestly show that you're trying to make things better and you're advocating for things that are like truly within your first principles, I think it's great to talk about all this stuff. It's just John's tone that makes him sound black-pilled. Well, do I need a higher pitched voice or something? Would that be better? Doomer's another label too. Yeah, that's so stupid. Waltz is a suppository, not a pill. All right. Okay, well, I think that's all I wanted to say. Reservoir Badlands is about to host General Quas, the single most white-pilled dude I've ever met. Exactly. Which is why it's kind of funny that the same day we announced that, we get called black pillars. Like, you guys are retarded. People do not care as much about your opinion as much as they care about their opinions coming from your mouth. I like that. I like that a lot. CN Stewart, the standalone mustache is the only time I've questioned Jon's sexual integrity. Oh, that's good. Okay, well, let's talk about what's going on. Oh, you know what? There's a video that was posted to, I haven't watched this yet, but I think we should watch it together. It was posted on the White House YouTube. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It's 2 minutes long, but I think it's pretty good from what I've been told. So check it out.
When Parliament named these laws coercive, they meant to bend us to their will. But in Boston, we knew them by another name. The Intolerable Acts.
One more after this. It's bloody rain. God help me.
They closed our harbor, our lifeblood. No ship could sail, no merchant trade. Our town, punished for those of us brave enough to exercise our liberties. Then they struck at those liberties. Our charter dissolved, assemblies dismissed, and soldiers quartered among us to watch, to warn, to remind us of who wore the yoke and who carried the lash. They thought they would break Boston, isolate it. Instead, the colonies saw their own fate in ours. Even Washington himself said, the cause of Boston is the cause of America. The crown meant to choke a single city, but awakened 13 colonies. Men who had never met now rode as brothers, finding unity in the very pressure meant to divide us. Jon, it's time.
Do you think it's a little coincidental that this gets posted online like while the whole tax revolt idea is probably at its peak? At least, hopefully it's not the peak. Hopefully it's on its way up. It's the most that's ever been talked about, in my opinion, since I've been doing this. I think it's great. Sorry, PJ Corrigan was talking shit, so I was talking shit back, and I don't know what your latest thing says, but whatever. I think this is interesting that they posted this, and I'm going to do a little more research on this when I get some time, but I wanted to just share that with you guys. The vibe that the White House has given out, it's great. Mike Irons, yeah, you're being set up for what? I don't know. Jon, it's time. Jon, there's no coincidences, bro. Yeah. Anyway, let's buzz through some news. No update on the Doge website. Silver was almost up to $81, and now it's climbing back up again a little bit, I guess. Badlandsgold.com, get your gold and silver. Bitcoin is at almost back up to 91,000. On the presidential website, we have a new presidential message on the anniversary of the Battle of New Orleans. So I'm not going to read that, though. And he also has this, where they set up the new Department of Justice Division for National Fraud Enforcement. And this is what they're doing. It's to combat the rampant and pervasive problem of fraud in the United States. The DOJ's new Division for National Fraud Enforcement will enforce the federal criminal and civil laws against fraud, targeting federal government programs, federally funded benefits, businesses, nonprofits, and private citizens nationwide. The Attorney General for this new division will be responsible for leading the department's efforts to investigate, prosecute, and remedy fraud affecting the federal government, federally funded programs, and private citizens. This role will oversee multi-district and multi-agency fraud investigations, provide advice, assistance, and direction to the United States Attorney's offices on fraud-related issues, and work closely with federal agencies and department components to identify, disrupt, and dismantle organized and sophisticated fraud schemes across jurisdictions. I mean, I think this is it's a great idea, not to blackpill, but just to offer another alternative thought process on this. Is like, one, these things were supposed to be, you know, we were supposed to be going after these people with the original setup. Like, why wasn't the original, like, why do we need a whole new attorney general, assistant attorney general, just to go after fraud? Like, shouldn't the system been going after the fraud in the first place? I think this is great. I mean, to focus in on this stuff, you know, I worry. A lot of what we try to do here is decipher what's really going on, right? And I wonder how much of these moves that we see being made are people outside of Trump within the administration just grifting and just trying to like grift themselves onto like the latest trend. Like Una Banca, right? She's a great example of this. Everybody's all hot and bothered over the D-class stuff, and so she starts her own little D-class committee. Doesn't actually do anything. Waste taxpayer dollars going down to Texas to investigate the 60-year-old JFK murder. But that's what they do. They get on these committees, they do all these things, and they put their social media stuff out there. Is this Trump doing this, or is this Pam Bondi? You know, Pam, the files are on my desk, Bondi, Pam Bindergate Bondi. Is this her just creating this to ride the very viral story of fraud that we've witnessed the last couple of weeks in Minnesota? Is that what we're doing here? I don't know. But I hope they actually do what they're setting up to do. I think it's a good move. I just hope it's not grifting. You can't pull the plug without an investigation. Fraud is rampant. Yeah. And I also wonder too, like a concern that I would have is the red herring effect. Like, how many of these things are they doing to get us to, you know, make it seem like they're doing an actual thing, but they're actually covering up other things as they go? I don't know. We'll see. 2020 Joe, trailer was Sean Ryan show? No, I took clips from that show, but that wasn't the trailer for that show. It was for this show that he's doing on Badlands. Expose and ignore Bondi. John, I have no clue what to think about Bondi. I don't know either. She does some good things. She does some bad things. I don't trust her. I don't trust anybody other than Trump. And it's not that I even trust Trump. He's the only one I give the benefit of the doubt to, as I've always said. Let's see what we got from Trump on Truth Social. Posted this just 2 minutes ago. The largest oil companies in the world are coming to the White House at 2:30 p.m. Everybody wants to be there. It's too bad that the ballroom hasn't completed, because if it were, it would be packed. We apologize to those oil companies that we cannot take today, but Secretary of Energy Chris Wright and Secretary of the Interior Doug Burgum will see them over the next week. Everyone is in daily contact. Today's meeting will almost exclusively be a discussion on Venezuelan oil and our long-term relationship with Venezuela, its security, and people. A very big factor in this involvement will be the reduction of oil prices for the American people. Additionally, and perhaps most importantly of all, will be the stoppage of drugs and criminals coming into the United States of America. Thank you for your attention on this matter, President Donald J. Trump. It doesn't have the question I have, like, when it comes to the drug trade stuff. I know that they're finding all sorts of different ways to get drugs in the country, but we were, like, the border shut down, we're told. And like the military has been tasked with like stopping this stuff. Was taking out Maduro, is that actually going to change the drug trade? We haven't shut down the northern border, I don't think. 2020, grow your beard back to cover your fat, ugly head. That was very nice of you. Let's see who this guy is. No videos. He's got 2 followers. I wonder who his followers are. I always like looking at who comes in with that ad hominem attacks and just like, okay, which troll are you? Not just drugs, human trafficking for sure. John, the EO signed April 28th was for insurrection. Oh, I don't think that's true. Let me find that EO. Hold for processing. Protecting criminal aliens from, or sorry, American communities from criminal aliens. Is that the one you're talking about? Come on, internet. Okay, maybe I'll come back to that, I guess. But yeah, anyway, they're going to be working on the development of oil stuff. And look at this, while we were live, I look forward to having a meeting with Gustavo Petro, the president of Colombia, in the White House during the first week of February. I'm sure it will work out very well for Colombia and the USA, but cocaine and other drugs must be stopped from coming into the United States. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Well, I mean, if he comes, we should just keep him. Just not let him go back. Just kidnap him. That'd be a lot easier of a military operation. Just like kidnap him while he's visiting your house. That's what I would do if I were him. If you were planning on doing it, I mean, when are you going to get a better opportunity, Trump? This is one more post. Venezuela is releasing large numbers of political prisoners as a sign of seeking peace. This is a very important and smart gesture. The USA and Venezuela are working well together, especially as it pertains to rebuilding in a much bigger, better, and more modern form their oil and gas infrastructure. Because of this cooperation, I've canceled the previously expected second wave of attacks, which looks like it will not be needed. However, all ships will stay in place for safety and security purposes. At least $100 billion will be invested by big oil, all of whom I will be meeting with today at the White House. Thank you for your attention to this matter. $100 billion, that's a big investment. Let's see what else I got. This is another rerun. Federal prosecutors open new criminal probe into New York Attorney General Letitia James. We'll get her one of these times, guys. One of these times. Trump withdrawing from a bunch of climate orgs, all the UN stuff. It's got climate people pissed off. If you remember that article came out that the ozone or whatever was healing itself. I think I talked about that on the show. Maybe that's why Trump withdrew from all the UN stuff. We got on the right track. We don't need to worry about it anymore. Bring back the hairspray. I thought this was just absolutely hysterical. Like, what are you doing, Politico? Is Trump doing a good job? Only 12% of Germans think so. Oh, no. How will we ever recover from how the Germans feel about Trump? The NSA has tapped a new second in command, Tim Kosiba. I was actually going to look this guy up live with you as well. Tim Kosiba. Let's find some Wikipedia or something here. Or we can read the actual press release. This is what he looks like. He doesn't look like an NSA guy. And I guess I don't know what NSA guys are supposed to look like. But if you were to like put down let's say a lineup of pictures in front of me and be like, which one of these guys is the NSA guy? I could probably guarantee I would not have selected him. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but I felt like I needed to say it. They've announced Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, DNI, have designated and President Trump approved Mr. Timothy Kosiba as the senior civilian leader in the agency. He will oversee strategy execution, establish policy, guide operations, and manage the senior civilian leadership. I want to know some of his background. 33 federal career. More than 30 years of experience in the intelligence community. He's been instrumental in the successful implementation of NSA's cybersecurity policy. Frequently represented both the NSA and U.S. Cyber Command at the White House and other government-sponsored things. I just want to know, is he more tied to General Nakasone, who Ezra Cohen-Watnick hates, or is this somebody more of an outsider? It doesn't seem like this is, an outsider-type pick. So with that, there's always some level of concern of, is this guy deep state or is he good? But yeah, anyway, that's new news. Maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow too on the Power Hour. Only got 5 minutes left. So let's buzz through, see if there's any other topics that I really wanted to discuss. I don't think there really is. Nothing urgent. So let's see what you guys do in the chat and then get you guys out of here and over to Ghost. Don't black pill on that insult, John. You guys. Anything interesting that I'm missing or that you guys want me to talk about? What is qualifications? Doesn't really say. Yes, you do. You have friends at the NSA. Oh, that's right. I do have friends at the NSA. Kind of. They're not my friends. They're CC's friends. Allegedly. I don't even know if that's a true story. Because I feel like, no, I won't talk about it. I don't want to get assassinated. Get that out of there. All right. Benny was legit NSA patriot. Has Watkins posted an opinion yet? That's a good question. I didn't even look. Let me go see. John is a Fed. Yeah. Been accused of that quite a bit. Ezra Cohen. Any Maduro updates? Not really. Who do we think is going to be the fraud AG? I don't know. That's a good question. I'm curious to see who they pick. 2020 Joe's back. Truth versus influence. You're retarded, bro. This is Ezra's Twitter page. Josh Steinman says 30,000 military-age Chinese males were released into country during the last administration. It is critical that we find them and deport them because a significant number are almost certainly part of a covert sabotage and programs. Killian Wu was one of them. Ezra says, newsflash, they aren't here to take pictures of our military aircraft. So a lot of talk about this person in the country. Yeah, I think that's it. All right, guys. Well, if you wouldn't mind doing me a favor, I'd appreciate you. Well, here, let's read this. What are your thoughts on Bongino having to recuse himself because of investigations incoming where he worked for certain people doing Secret Service? Is that what he said? Better listen to the ones who overcome because they save a many from tough heartache, or at least help be prepared when the shit the fan and cognitive dissonance runs the show. Buyer beware. Don't know what that means either. Side effects of John's black pill. Has my black pill suppository affected you guys? Whitaker for AG, that'd be an interesting pick. Watch him bring in Bill Barr or something. John, related to Greenland, EO from June 2020. You guys got to be more specific. There were probably a lot of EOs in June of 2020. But I can look and see if there's any specifically to Greenland from Trump. No, the only ones we got on there are Leif Erikson Day 3 times. That specifically mentioned Greenland. So you'll have to be more specific, Paulie. All right, guys, I'm going to send you out of here. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Hit the thumbs up, and I will see you tonight on the Onlylands. You guys have a great rest of your Friday.
Let's get started.
Oh, that's real good.
Why they stopping me? Stopping me.